I thought today we'd get out here and maybe, it's been raining, so maybe we can see if we can't lift a few of the biggest beets out just to see kind of what we've got. I'll just pull these and lay them down there, and then we'll gather them up as we need them. I don't want to pull the little, all I'm wanting is the biggest ones right now. And I'm afraid that they might be more little ones than they are big ones. Might not be time to pull them either. They'll fool you though. They will. They definitely will. Now the ones that I'm going over here are, there's some pretty good sized beets in there. I mean, it ain't like they're tiny. I'm just looking for the biggest ones. And what that will do, it'll give the others room to grow for a while if we don't get them all at once. Most of these is already at the size that I like them. I mean, for making pickle beets. I'll just tell you though, there's a lot. One thing I didn't do, I didn't thin these at all when I planted them. And when you plant beets, the beet seed, I think there's more than one plant comes up from a seed, if I ain't mistaken. You can see where the beets are thinned, not as many together, the root's bigger. So if you're looking for bigger roots, that's something that you want to take into consideration. If you're looking for small to medium sized beets, you can just leave them the way they are. I mean, you know, don't thin them. Don't even worry about thinning them. I'm doing two things here. I'm kind of thinning the beets and pulling the ones that I want at the same time. So, you know, like when I pulled that one, it lifted that little one out with it. So we don't want to waste it. We'll take it too. Now here's one that's kind of off by itself, and it's not got any competition. So you can see what kind of root that it put on there. And same with this one. When they're not crowded, you'll see what kind of roots that they produce. So if you leave them crowded, what you'll have is a lot of smaller beets. And if you don't leave them crowded, you'll have a bigger beet. So maybe it would probably balance out about right. These beets, it's like I say, I'm getting these monsters out. I'm gonna take this one. Hopefully it'll leave those two. It's not the biggest one in the world, but it needs to give the others breathing room. Here's one that needs to be removed. If I can leave the others, I'll be ahead of the game. Try to leave the ones adjacent to it. Now the reason I'm getting these big ones right now is because they will just keep growing. And there's no need to not give the adjacent ones that's close to it a chance to grow a little bigger. See, them's beets. And hopefully these beets, I'm going to try to store a few of these, the biggest ones. I'm leaving these others, and of course some of them will grow too. Just looking through here to see what I can locate. Pull a few old weeds as you go. Here's one that might need to come out there. Look what a beet. You've always, as you go, try to take some of these old weeds as you go. Because if you don't, you'll be back. You'll have to be back to get the weeds eventually, so you might as well get them while you're here. We'll take that one. That one's destroyed. That one has got damage in it. That one's damaged by some kind of insect. It is. I'm selectively pulling these, trying not to do too much damage to the plants as I go. Taking the biggest ones out. Getting some beets. And also, that's not the biggest, but I'll remove it. You're removing beets, and you're also giving the little ones beside it the ability to expand a little more. They're all about, I mean, I could pull all of these today, and I could pull them all, and they'd be fine. Now up here where they're thin, where they didn't come up thick, you got bigger beets. And you've also got, I'm gonna get that one, get it out of the way. That one, I accidentally pulled it. It's come a typhoon today, rain, and I'll go ahead and get that. It's a little lone rider right here by itself. Pull them old weeds up as we go. Now here's one that I'll try to save the little ones beside it. Yeah, if you just put your hands on the little ones beside it as you pull those, you'll do very little disturbance on the adjacent beets. And I'm sure I thought I uprooted a few with that, but I didn't. It don't hurt a thing, and if it does, you know, what's the difference in thinning them as you go and not thinning them at all? So here's one that's off by itself. I'm gonna pull these weeds. there's nothing close to it. No beet within a foot of it or farther. And I'm gonna pull it out and I'll show you what it looks like. Well, there was a tiny one, but it's tiny, tiny. But see, that's a pretty good size beet. Beets, beets, and more beets. They're good if you like them. And everybody should like them. Or get to liking them. Now that's the biggest ones. And this, like I said, every one of these beets through here in this row could be pulled. They could be pulled. They sure could. Now the beets, right now I'm just gonna lay them in the wagon here just to get them up off the ground. Leaves and stuff. Tell you what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go the other side and come this way. We'll have to run that tiller through here again and knock down some of those weeds that's growing there. They're coming back with a vengeance. Of course, every time you till, you know that's going to happen. You know that's going to happen. Now that one there, I'll show you, and I'll show you what's in there. I'll lay it to the back, and hopefully I can find it. You know, it don't take a big area to grow a lot more food than you would possibly need. You can see what I done right here. I went through there and just picked out a few out of this row, the biggest ones. You'll see them, I'll show you. There's one of the boys' squash horns I made. Got a Japanese beetle sitting right in the middle there. Ain't that something? A Jap beetle. I'll show you here. Squash horn. Inside there lays a Japanese beetle. And it's playing dead. It's playing dead. But it ain't dead, see what you... All right, fell off. Anyway, crush it. What I do with these beets, there's different ways of doing it with the beets. Different ways. I'm just gonna lay these in here for right now. I'm just gonna lay them in there and let I should do it this way, like I've always do. I'll lay the roots out, and that way when I rinse that off, all that dirt will be outside instead of inside the table. There's the big ones. Had that one. I'm sure it's still there somewhere that I was going to show you about where something has been a working on it. I do, right here. Yeah. This one, you can see, maybe, where and you could cut that out. But you can see where something has been eaten into the top of this beet. And if I can get that out, I see it in there. Let me see if I can. Yeah, right there. Right there is one of the culprits. And let's see. You can see that maybe on the end of my finger. That is, put it on the top of my hand right there. That's a little bitty slug, or snail rather. One of them little, I don't know what you call them. It's a snail with a shell on it. Them roundings, spiral looking ones. That's what was in there. Now, whether that's what caused that, I don't know. But that was a culprit that was in there. Lay it on the ground. I don't even like the looks of something like that, much less eat it. Go ahead and get that off. And I'll lay that right in there. It's nasty today. It's wet, everything's wet. Humid. It's gonna rain again, by the way. Gonna rain again. Now, while these is up here, see, I can just wash them off, and all the crud will actually fall on the ground outside of this basin. And that's why I do it like this. Just wrench it off. Don't hurt a thing. Oh, you ain't supposed to wet that stuff. Well, it just rained, people. It just rained. So everything, especially the beets, is already wet. So I figure if I don't let them dry and do this, they're gonna dry anyway, ain't they? It's just a no-brainer. Just wash it. Just wash them off. Get the crud off. Try not to damage and skin the beets. You don't want to do that. The more you can, allowed to do. And just rinse them off there. Rinse them off. It's just better to do it that way. Easier to handle, easier to deal with. Looks better. And all that good stuff. Most of the dirt will be stuck to the, anyway, where the roots is holding it. And then we'll rinse them again before we're done. Okay. And then the little wagon there is where we'll throw the tops. Beets. Beets, beets, beets. Now that's some of the biggest ones as of now that's in there. We'll go ahead and trim them tops off. Now, I'll show you, they ain't no set way. It's just ways that different people do different things. Now, if I was gonna boil these beets, I'll show you how I would cut these beets if I was gonna boil them. Now what I'd do, I'd come about 2 inches up on that beet, and I'd cut that beet off like that. And is what I'd do. And then, I'm not gonna do it, then I'd cut this root off. But this one, cut them off about all them little hairy looking things. I like to get them off, them little roots. Get them off, like so. Now, since I'm fogging up here, my glasses are. Oh hell. Since I'm not gonna pickle these, and I'm going to try to store these, this top needs to go. So, take your knife. Can you see me? I'm sure you can. I hope you can. Take your knife, sharp end away from you, get right against the top of that, and slice that off. And make sure your finger ain't down there where you take half it off. Slice it off. Just like that. Cut them places where they want to sprout and roots come up. Just cut it off. It's like that. So you're not getting into the beet. You don't want to get into the top of the beet or the shoulder, or whatever you want to call it. And that's the way we're going to do these beets. I'll cut another in here and show you. I'll just take this one and I'll go ahead and cut the leaves off, which makes more sense anyway, where I can get a little closer and show you. Now, I've seen other people do the same thing here. And that's how you learn a lot of times from other people, isn't it? So, right here, with this beet, that root, them old hairs, you don't have to get them all. The roots, the little root hairs that's around the beet on the side of it. Get them off. This root right here, this long root, rather than leave it, because if you leave that, 9 times out of 10 in the process, that'll get broke off. So what we want to do is come up, I don't know, inch, half inch, 3/4 of an inch. Just cut down that root off. Then turn that beet with your knife away from you. Lay it right there on the shoulder of that beet. Slice up at an angle. It's like that. And that way you're not cutting into the fruit itself, the vegetable itself. The fruit, vegetable, the beet. Just like that. Cut that off. Now see, I actually didn't nick that right there. Don't think it'll hurt a thing, but I don't do that if you can keep from it. I was goofing around there. But just make sure it's cleaned up. You're not cutting into the beet nowhere, unless you do like me and nick it a little, but that's fine. Just cut that top off. Just like that. As close as you can to the beet without getting into the beet. Then you can lay your tops in there, bam, cut that off, lay that like that, and just go around it quick. 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 I've seen people cut the top of that right into the beet and leave the red exposed. You can cut it off. You can get it closed. That's fine too. It don't matter how you do it. Just get that off there. And then them roots, leave the size of the beet, just trim the end of it off. Trim the end of it off. Now this one, just like I said, you can go just like that and make less strokes when you're doing this. And you're taking the whole shebang off. The whole top of the beets, the leaves. Just taking them off. Or you can do it like this. However you feel comfortable. You can just shear them off. And then come down there and take that tail and leave it like that. Take your fingers, pinch them little hairs off. Get any kind of leaf, mat, or anything off top of that. And then come back. You're going to have to come back anyway, so you might as well do it to start with. And get those off of there. Get that off of there. Don't want no places where that can sprout anyway soon. And if you feel comfortable, you can just go around like this. It don't matter, the point I'm trying to make. Just don't cut into your beet. Cut that off of there, them roots where it's going to sprout. Shear that root off, leave about an inch on it, half inch, 3/4 of an inch, whatever you want. Just like that. I'll start something one way. And I'll wind up before I get done in the process of doing something like this. It don't take me too long to figure out the fastest way and the simplest way of doing it. And that is what I'll do every time, practically. So when you go by the textbook, and that may be the textbook, the way things work for the guy that wrote the textbook. I never did write a textbook. Never did have a hankering to do that. Just shave them off. I like doing it this way myself. I like cutting them off and then going through there and just shearing the outer edge of that off a little. Just like that. Go there and cut that. You don't even need the knife on them little hairy roots. Just pull them right off. And you don't even have to take them off, to tell you the truth. This big one, let's get it out of the way. Now watch this, I'll just shave that off. Pull any excess off. Go right around. Just lay your knife at a slight angle. And just go around through there and smooth that end of that, where that root would sprout off. It's gonna sprout anyway, I suppose, in time. If that comes down to a big slope, go down a little further, like that. You don't want to cut up in here. If you cut up in here, you'd be cutting into the beetroot. I don't know what else to say about that. I'm gonna wrench my hands off. I'm gonna get mud and crud plumb up to my elbows here. Now, we'll start again. And I know that when I'm doing stuff like this, making these videos, it gets boring watching me cut this beet like this, over and over and over, and then moving to another beet and doing the same thing. But if you go through here and cut one beet and then show a truckload, you don't really know the process. And of course, doing it this way, people that's never seen it done, and there's tons who have, I understand that. And I mean, it ain't rocket science. But getting this beet, it's kind of like going in a garden and plowing it up and disking it up and laying the strings off and laying the furrow off and planting the seeds, or pushing a planter, and then boom, you got beets. No, there's a process. It's not magic. It's not magic. You want magic? I'll tell you some real magic is going to the produce section at a farmer's market or Kroger's and picking out your produce, your beets, whatever. Wow, that was easy. Yeah, it was easy. It was easy. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying the farmer's market's where people need to be going a lot of times. Of course, you have to patronize everybody. Everybody, it really needs it, you know, if you're in business. You quit going to Kroger's, or you quit going to Walmart and stop buying, and if everybody done that, they disappear. Now, there's a lot of people, I'll assure you, there's more people that goes to the big box stores than there are to the farmer's market. And but it's exactly the same way with the farmer's markets. If you don't go to the farmer's markets and patronize those farmers and those people that grow produce and sell it, they won't go to that farmer's market and just sit there waiting for it to rain or something. They're not there. Of course, I know they enjoy it. It would be enjoyable. But in reality, they're there to sell their produce. Helps offset some of the expenses and stuff like that they're incur into their produce. just like I said, it's not all magic. I don't know how I got on that magic stuff, but anyway, there's a process in anything you do. One foot in front of the other. That's just like going to the store. You have to get up, get ready, and go, don't you? Well, some people grow produce. Some people buy produce. As long as it stays in, you know, I just hope that the way things is looking could get harder to find produce. You know, I've said it a million times, if you think that and take for granted that it'll always be there, that don't mean it will. That don't mean it'll always be there. You know, there's a multitude of things that can happen. Crop failures. You know, if you're growing stuff to eat, stuff don't grow well, don't do so swift one year, and you eat the same thing that you've growed, you know, most of the time when you go to a farmer's market, now there's people that they go and they'll bring it in and set it up at farmer's markets, and it's produce, all I can say. But a lot of them will tell you, and a lot of them try to pass it off like that they're producing it themselves. And they might produce a bushel of beets and buy a ton of them. But it don't matter now, does it? The only thing that does matter is I know exactly what I put on these beets. And beets is something that, when they first come up, you got to watch them pretty good. You've got to kind of watch them. And a lot of times, some old flea beetles and stuff, and I don't know what kind of bugs, they'll get on them and work on them, boy. They'll work on them. Slows them down from taking off. But once they take off, they do pretty good. I mean, you don't have to do much to them. Just watch them. But anyway, you know, if you've got a farmer, it don't have to be a farmer's market. If you've got a farmer or somebody that grows stuff, don't forget them. Don't forget them. Because I'm afraid there's going to be a time coming that you'll wish they were there. And if you can't help them along the way, a lot of times they ain't apt to hang in there, are they? And ain't nobody wants to just continually try to produce something and lose money on it. It don't work that way long. Long as there's a little, it don't have to be much, but as long as there's a little profit to be made, it makes it a lot more interesting on the one doing it. I don't sell my stuff. I don't grow it to sell. I give away about, well, a lot more than I use. And a lot goes to waste. It really don't go to waste because it either goes to compost, chicken feed, or now pig feed. And horses, they like stuff too. They do. You see, you come up with a few beets and a wagon load of tops here. Now, when I get ready to go back and take the rest of them beets up, and that will happen probably within a week. I'll set my cooker up if I don't change my mind. Right here somewhere. And I'll show you how I fix these beets for pickling, canning, whatever you want to call it. Now this right here should fill them pigs' belly up today. It should, that is, should. And this one is that bad one. And I'm gonna cut the top off of that where I can see what's happening here. Maybe, no, it's destroyed. I was just thinking maybe I could find out what was going on. But whatever that is, whether it's a deformity of the beet or whether it's a bug, I don't see anything in there that resembles an insect. I'm sure they probably are. But it's plumb past the heart of that beet. So it goes in the pig pen. The pig pen. You see something like that on a root crop, 9 times out of 10. You just must always look and see what you can find. And then toss it, get rid of it. Because you don't know what's causing it. Now here is our pig food for this evening. We're gonna wash them. Let's hit them a lick and try to wrench all this big stuff down, because I know that's gonna stop things up right off the bat. We'll pick all these big leaves and stuff that snuck by us. We'll get that out of there, because I know what that's gonna do. That's just gonna stop our table up. See, like right here. Need a bigger hole. I ain't even gonna talk about it no more. We just need a bigger hole in their table. Okay, let's just rinse them off now. With this rinsing, I mean, you can probably see the stuff that runs off of them there. That's why I rinse them. Get it now, don't wait later. Just rinse them off. They're already wet. They just come out of the ground after a rain. But what I want you to pay attention to is the red stuff. I'm gonna let this rinse that one more time. Now, let this water get out of there. What I'm gonna do, maybe you can see these. I'll fix it where you can. You look right in here, and I'm gonna turn this on lightly and rinse those. You see any red? See the red? Look here. You see very pale. Now, if you cut into that beet, that thing will bleed something off, and it'll bleed all kinds of juices and stuff out of that. And if you see that, you'll say to yourself, I cut them way too deep now, didn't I? That is our beets that we gathered today. That is the beets. And you can see, I'll show you, pretty good sized beets. Big beets, bigger than, I don't like them much bigger. One thing about it, these beets, see where I cut them, washed them off, they're clean. All they need to do now is dry. And that's it. So I got, what they get, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. That's 34, not counting the little ones. And these 5 or 5 or 6 in there. I'll hit this one more time, one last time, let it drain. One last time. That's, the next water those will get will be in a kettle if I use them for that. So, we've got to try this to see what it's like raw. Just peel them off. When I cook these and get ready to can them, I just throw the whole beet, peeling it all, in a big kettle and cook them till they get fairly tender. And then that shell, even that end, that root end, I can take my thumb, it'll just roll off. It just rolls off. So once you get that peel like that, give it a little rinse. Rinse your knife a little. And then we're gonna try it and see if it's any good. Just cut you off a piece there. I like them. They're not bad, but you gotta like beets. I think, myself, it's fine to grow stuff like this in the spring, but it's a while to fall. It's a while to cool weather. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? If you got a bunch of root crops now and harvesting now, this time of year, which is June, July, August, September, October, November. That's June, July, August, September, October, November. That's 5 months. They're a little hard. Not hard, but hard to get a bite on them. I could eat another. They're not bad, people. They're real good cooked. Roasted. And I'll roast some of these right here. You take these beets, these big beets, and I don't peel them. I don't peel them. You can, but I don't. And you want to clean that up better, naturally. And scrub them with a brush. And then I like to put olive oil on them and sprinkle them with kosher salt. lay them in the oven, roast them. I don't know what the time is, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that, at 350 or 375, I don't remember. It's been a couple years since I roasted any. But last year I pickled all of them. A few years before that, we just ate them. And I'll tell you how we ate them. I got on a big beet juice kick, and which is healthy. And me and my wife, and I took all these beets that I growed, and of course I growed them over on that side. And took all those beets and cleaned them good, just like I done here. And put them in the refrigerator. Got 2 refrigerators, one that we keep bulk stuff in. And we just take those beets out, wash them, brush them, and I've got a juicer that you have to cut those in a couple, 3 pieces, big ones like that. But just run them through that juicer, zip, you've got pure beet juice. And that's it, just pure beet juice. And I was drinking that, and I thought, Lord, this is harsh. It's all I could do to get a glass down. And she come across some way of taking lemons and juicing the lemon. Of course, she took the peels off. I think the whole peel. Pretty sure she did. She may have juiced the whole thing. I don't remember. One way or the other. It was the whole lemon or the peel lemon. And I think it was the whole lemon, tell you the truth. Something after my chickens or what? Anyway, that lemon, just the lemon mixed with that beet juice, oh, a complete different scenario. Tasted much better and was enjoyable to drink. It was a little harsh when you was drinking just a pure beet juice. But what I'm saying, try you some beets, juice them with lemons, and you'll find out that it'll be a lot more enjoyable. Both ways are good, but with the lemon, top of it, that's just really made it. And I'll tell you something else. I think she done a time or 2, which I didn't care as much for it, but it was different. Let me tell you, we juiced 2 bushel of beets and drunk them that fall. And of course, you put them in the refrigerator like that where it's cool, and Lord have mercy, they'll keep. They really shock me and surprise me how long they do keep if you got them in a cool place like a refrigerator. But anyway, she took some ginger root and would take a piece size your thumb, you know, run it through the juicer and mix the ginger, the lemon, and the beets, and it made a real good drink. So, it looks like in the last 2 days, according to that rain gauge, we've got almost an inch of rain. I'll show you the beets in the garden again, and you tell me if you can tell that we have done any damage to them. I don't think that we've hurt them too much. Really, yeah, I can tell it's a little bit where I've roughed them up and rolled them around a little bit. They'll straighten right back up. So now, most of those beets, I won't say all of them, most of those beets are going to probably be pickled. I love pickled beets. don't eat them every day, but you know, you get to craving something good, and of course there's sugar in pickle beets. I really like them. It's doing all right. I ain't looked, but let me zoom in on that plant right there. I'm just wondering if they would actually be a little tomato or tomato hanging there anywhere. And on the other side, I really don't know. I don't know. I thought I seen a bloom. Let's see. I believe I do at the top, right in there somewhere. Yeah, I think right there in this, somewhere some little blooms. The borage. Bees and bumblebees love that stuff. You can see over there the collards. I need to get in there and get them bottom leaves off of that. I do. This time of year, especially when it starts the rainy season, they're weeds is a battle. You can see the cucumber there, it's starting up the trellis. Now there's the pepper right there that I overwintered in the house. I've got 40 or 50 peppers off of it so far. So anyway, right out through there's the pepper row. And you can see right out there where she changes, right there in the middle of the screen. And I think what that is the bell peppers. And then I think in the front here is the jalapeno peppers. Pretty sure it's jalapenos. And that's the bells out there. Okra. You can see the sweet potato starting to run good. Cabbage, it's laying them big leaves out and starting little heads. It don't take long for this stuff to get with the program. The beans out there is reaching for the sky, blooming. I'm gonna have to check them for Japanese beetles. It gets to looking pretty hairy this time of year in the garden. But that's when she starts maturing, it fills in, doesn't it? You remember when it looked like a desert? I told you, I said, it'll get more interesting as time goes on, and it don't take long. Already the potatoes, you can see them yellowing up there. And I want them out of there soon, where I can get something else there. But anyway, let's look at Stephanie's flowers. Those are zinnias. Pretty little zinnias. I planted them for her. She loves her little flowers. I do too. They're pretty. They are pretty. I want to show you something. Let me see if I can't show you what's under them. This is loaded, I mean loaded with persimmons. Loaded with them. And look at this. It's hard to see. persimmons. I mean, simply loaded. But that does that often. And what'll happen is it'll start dropping them. It'll drop them. I don't know what the deal is. I'm gonna get closer and show you what I'm talking about if I can zoom in on them boogers. I would assume that you could probably see them little critters by the thousands I say, of little, and most of them's hid up under the leaves. But you can see them there. Tons and tons of persimmons. It would tickle me if every one hung on to the tree this year. Of course, they won't. They won't. You can see them there, I'm sure. Lots of persimmons. Simply amazing. And we got another one somewhere, right there, on that limb. Okay, that's the second one that I found right there. I'll show you. Right here. Right here. Right here. There. Right there. Right there. Chestnut burr. Might be one or two there. Looks to me like it's one. Like, and there's another one. So they may be a few more than I'm thinking. That's, you know, they're hard to see. I just don't think there's going to be many at all. You know, you'd be surprised at what that right there will do to keep the birds off of the blueberries. You see all those blueberries on that lower limb. There's a reason that those blueberries are still on that lower limb. If you want to know why they are, you'll have to talk to a dog that we've got named Toby. Toby will let you know why those blueberries are still there on the bottom. That's his favorite spot, quick as he comes out the door. Okay, that's it. Gone for today.